So did his son.
Did you build some?
I did. I was building for about 15 years.
You guys might take a crap.
Thank you.
I call to order the Board of Zoning and Building Appeals. Will rise to, for a pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Kane,
Here.
Brotman,
Here.
Kimball,
Here.
Toth,
Here.
Masterson.
Here.
Members of the administration, Council Liaison Winkle is excused. Chief Building Official Fursden. Here. Assistant Law Director Morgan. Here. Planning and Development Director Lieber.
Does anybody have any amendments or any questions in regards to the regular meeting minutes of October 24th? Hearing none, I move to accept the meeting minutes. Do we have a planning commission report?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. The North Ridgeville Planning Commission acted on one item at its regular meeting Tuesday, November 12th, 2024. Considered was an application by HSB Architects to construct a 4,000 square foot urgent care facility located at 34548 Center Ridge Road, which will be operated by University Hospital's Urgent Care. The center will be situated between Blue Falls Car Wash and the vacated Scooters Coffee Building. This application was approved by a unanimous 4-0 vote. Director Lieber updated the commission on 2 administrative approvals for zoning compliance certificates. The first was to Siddo's Restaurant, a proposed Lebanese cuisine eatery located at 34259 Center Ridge Road, situated in the Giant Eagle Shopping Plaza. The second certificate was awarded to Italian Coffee, a proposed coffee shop located at 34960 Center Ridge Road, situated in the Northview 24 LLC building in the space formerly occupied by Charm Boutique. Director Lieber also gave an update for the following items. Zoning code review. The diagnosis stage is complete and will be the subject of a joint presentation to the City Council and Planning Commission on Monday, December 2nd. The active transportation plan. The plan is complete and is anticipated to be presented to the Commission for review at their December meeting. Components of this plan are already being utilized in attempts to secure funding sources for a sidewalk improvement project on Bagley Road. Traffic studies. The Lorraine Lear Road study is being refined with additional data and analysis. The Bainbridge Route State Route 83 study has been completed, and the administration is currently working with a consultant to prepare a safety application for a future roundabout located at the intersection of Route and Bainbridge Roads, along with other traffic pattern improvements under review for possible implementation in this area. This concludes my report.
Thank you very much, sir. Are there any other reports or correspondence?
Not at this time.
Okay, we'll move on to the public hearings.
First applicant is PPZ 2024-0305, Philip Heron, 38527 Chandler Way, PPN 07-00-047-000-135. Proposal consists of installing a fence on a corner lot. Property is zoned R1 Residence District. Requests: 1, a 2-foot height variance for a fence in the front yard. Applicant shows 6 feet, code allows 4 feet. Section 1294.01 H2A. And second, a variance for opacity of a fence located in the front yard. Applicant shows 0% open, code requires 50% open. Section 1294.01 H2A.
Ms. Lieber, did you want to read your notes?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The applicant is requesting a variance for the height and opacity of a fence located in the front yard of their residential lot. The lot is a corner lot. Both Chandler Way and Cora Court are front yards per our zoning code. This is one of the new residential subdivisions, Eagle Meadow, which is currently under construction. The applicant is proposing a 6-foot high white vinyl fence, and they indicate the setback would be approximately 12 feet from the sidewalk along Cora. As you know, any portion of fence between the house and the front lot line, whether it's primary frontage or the side street, fence must be no greater than 4 feet high and no less than 50% open. So 2 variances are requested. Thank you.
Mr. Furston, did you have anything that you wanted to add to this?
No comment at this time.
Ms. Morgan, did you want to add anything?
Well, since there's 2 separate variances, I would request that you vote on each of them independent of the other.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody that would like to speak on behalf of this matter? Okay, I need you to go up to the podium so that I can swear you in, please. So I need you to state your name and address for the record, sir.
Philip, Phillip, Herron, Herron.
And your address, sir?
It's 38527 Chandler Way.
Okay. Do you swear or affirm that the statements you're about to make before the Zoning and Building Board of Appeals for the City of North Ridgeville are true as you shall answer unto God or under the penalties of the law of perjury?
I do.
Okay, tell us a little bit about your application.
So we purchased this property from Ryan back in May of this year. The house was constructed and completed in August of this year. We moved in September. I was told originally by one of the members of Ryan Homes that a fence could be constructed. I'm a retired police officer. I do have a canine on my property. I have my daughter's dog that does stay with us. She is a rescue. My dog is not aggressive. Her dog being abused is a little aggressive. So we did want to construct a fence. Did not realize it was a violation of any ordinance in the city. I do realize they're established for safety reasons. We are coming out from the house a little bit, going towards Cora Court, only because I wanted to utilize the size of the property. It's quite a large lot. We paid extra for that size lot. I was never told I could not construct the fence that we wanted to construct. I was told it had to be within 5 feet of the sidewalk. Then when we filed my fence contractor filed for the permit, he was told that there's an easement there, a utility easement. We had to file it. It's actually about 13 feet back from the sidewalk. So I did have a conversation with my neighbor on Cora that sits right behind me. I figured being a policeman, every ordinance is created for safety reasons. My issue was, can she see what she's got to see when she backs out of her driveway? So we had a conversation. She was going to come tonight. I don't know why she's not here, but she had no objection to the fence being put where it was going to be put. She said, I don't care if you put it on the sidewalk. It would be fine with us. So we redid my fence guy and I redid the whole thing. We went back 13 feet from the sidewalk, filed for the permit. He requested kind of quickly, let's get the permit through because of the weather coming up. And he waited 2 weeks. He came in and the answer was, it's a corner lot. You can't do that. You got to go basically from the side of the house. So I'm losing quite a bit of that side lot. It's not a front yard, it's a side lot that I'm losing. So that's why I wanted to come out, because if I abide by what the city wants, then I'm going to have more unprotected land than I will have protected land. The fence will essentially be 59 by 59 feet. And for that amount of money to pay for this fence, this is a $17,000 fence. For that amount of money to put this fence in, I'm not even going to bother investing the money because it's going to be a box on the property. It's going to look kind of strange to have the fence basically restricted to the back part of the house only. So I'm just asking for relief so I can construct that, have that fence constructed. I have grandchildren that come over. Cora Court, I don't think anybody's familiar with it because it is so new. I have never seen as much traffic on a street as I've seen on Cora Court. I mean, I was cutting the grass the other day. I counted 27 cars in an hour going up and down the street. So now it's a safety issue for me. And the stop sign that's at the corner of the street there, I watch it just because of what I do or what I did. Nobody stops for that stop sign. It's more of a yield sign. So it's a safety issue for me as well, for the dogs. The neighbor behind me's got a dog. They're not aggressive, but one did go after the other one the other day. So we're just trying to keep the dogs separated, and I want privacy for my grandchildren that are over. I don't know what goes on that street. I know there was 4 police cars down there the other day for an incident on Cora already. We paid $500,000 for this house. I just want to have enough yard for my grandkids to play in and maybe put a pool in, just so there's enough area. And I don't want anybody in that street to be able to look at my backyard and see what's going on with my grandkids. So I respectfully ask for relief from your ordinance.
Does anybody have any comments, questions, or? Does anybody have any comments, questions, or concerns on this matter? Anybody want to speak?
Not at this moment.
Okay, so you have what's considered a very unique property. So you have a house that faces 2 streets. So sadly, you have what's considered 2 front yards. So the Board of Zoning and Appeals is here for a specific reason, and that is when a house has a situation that doesn't meet the regular building codes, you come to us. So this is a variance that we have seen in other areas. So the hardship is that you've eloquently stated that you have property, you have dogs, you have, safety concerns. The reality is that nobody that owns a corner lot realizes the 2 front yards. So the safety issue is, and we've considered this in different other areas and different other houses. We're looking to see the safety issue. So the person pulling out in the house behind you on, Cora Way. So I did come with my dog to look at your house, and nobody stopped at the stop sign. And I almost got nailed a couple times just by people cutting the corner really quite fast. And all I did was turned, pulled in the neighbor's driveway, and tried to get there. So I would be concerned about the safety of dogs and kids, just if they weren't in a fence. So I can understand the need for a fence and privacy for children. Having the fence going out farther than the edge of the garage, I can understand that need. Being 12 foot off of where the sidewalk is, that would give you more than enough clearance to be able to be seen. But there is 2 different variances that you're asking for. You're asking for the side yard variance, but you're also asking for a 2 foot high variance. So the fence that you're wanting is a 6 foot fence rather than a 4 foot fence. Is that correct?
That's correct. It's unfortunately with dealing with an HOA, which is the first time I've ever dealt with an HOA, they only offer 2 fences, the 6 foot privacy fence, which is the white vinyl, or a 5 foot black wrought iron, which does nothing for privacy and does nothing for safety, because even I at 58 years old can leap that thing and go over and grab something and leap back across. So, and a dog can definitely put his head through there to bite somebody. And if somebody's walking down, or a child is on a bike or something, I think the wrought iron fence is a little more dangerous than the vinyl fence, so.
So your HOA only allows you to have 2 fences?
The 2 fences, correct.
Okay. And sadly, as the Board of Zoning and Appeals, I understand what your HOA requires, but we're not supposed to take that into consideration. Do any of the other board members have any other comments? Questions? Okay, so in regards to the Duncan factors, will this property yield a reasonable return without the variance? Yes, the property will, if we don't give him the variance, of course he can use this. Is the variance substantial? The fence is 50% greater, so that's subjective. So, will the essential character of the neighborhood be altered? It's a brand-new neighborhood, so it's too early to tell. So, according to what Ms. Lieber put, it's clearly says the zoning code sets specific standards for height and opacity of fences in front yards and clearly establishes that corner lots have 2 front yards. These codes exist to preserve views for traffic and safety abutting on side streets. The fence encroaching the front lot yard along Coro could pose visual obstacles to the neighbor to the south when exiting and entering the property. Will the variance adversely affect the delivery of governmental services such as water, sewer, garbage? No. Did the property owner purchase the property with knowledge of the zoning restrictions? These zoning requirements have been in place prior to the construction of the house. Can the property's owner's predicament be precluded through some other method other than the variance? A 4-foot high fence and a 50% open fence could be installed. Landscaping could be used to enhance the screening and privacy. Would the spirit and intent behind the zoning requirement be observed and substantial justice done by granting the variance? The zoning code specifically indicates these lots have frontage on 2 intersecting streets, must contain the required front yards on both streets. There are many corner lots within the city of North Ridgeville, so this is not an unusual lot configuration. Evidence was not presented to show that there is a practical difficulty in complying with the code. Rather, it would seem the homeowner preference to maximize the fenced area of the yard. So, is there anybody in the audience that wants to speak on behalf of this matter? Anybody from the administration want to speak on behalf? So, what I'm going to do is break this down into 2 votes. We're going to take, I'm going to make a motion to accept the 2-foot high variance, and then we're going to do a second vote on the opacity of the fence. So I make a motion to accept the 2-foot height variance.
Second.
Will the clerk please take roll?
Kane,
Yes.
Groutman,
Yes.
Kimball,
No.
Toth,
No.
Masterson.
Yes.
Motion carries 3-2.
For the second, variance for opacity of the fence located in the front yard.
Kane,
Yes.
Groutman,
Yes.
Kimball,
No.
Toth,
No.
Masterson.
Yes.
Motion carries 3-2.
And you can pick up your permit on Monday.
Monday?
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Have a nice Thanksgiving.
You as well, sir. Will the clerk please read the next application?
PPZ 2024-0310, Casey O'Connor, 35836 Center Ridge Road, PPN 07-00-021-101-062. Applicant Mark Hanna, L3 Sign and Image, 212 Warden Avenue, Elyria, Ohio, 44035. Proposal consists of constructing a new monument sign. Property is Zone B3 Highway Commercial District. Request: 1, a 16.5-foot variance for setback of sign from a side lot line. Applicant shows 16.5 feet, code requires 20 feet. Section 1286.11C3. And second, a variance for monument sign base composition. Applicant shows single pole, code requires the base of any monument sign shall be composed of stone, brick, or other decorative material complementary to the building material used for the principal structure. Section 1286.11C4. See also 1286.03J10. Monument sign means a freestanding sign that contains a support structure that is a solid appearing base constructed of permanent material.
Is anyone here to speak on behalf of this matter? Okay. Hi. Can you please state your name and your address?
Mark Hanna, 212 Warden Avenue, Elyria.
Okay. Do you swear or affirm that the statements you're about to make before this Zoning and Building Board of Appeals for the City of North Ridgeville are true as you shall answer unto God or under the penalties of the law of perjury?
I do.
And I apologize. Ms. Lieber, can you please read your comments?
Thank you, Madam Chair. In advance of the meeting, we did clarify with the applicant, there's a little discrepancy in the drawings submitted that show two different heights of the sign. We clarified that it is a 120-inch high sign, 10 feet, so that part of my report's not relevant anymore. The applicant is requesting a variance for side setback of the proposed freestanding sign. Our code requires monument signs to be set back 20 feet from side lot lines. Due to that limited area between the driveway and the side lot line, the applicant is proposing to install the sign about 3.5 feet from the side lot line. Additionally, as we look closer at the requirements for monument signs and the definition of monument sign, code does allow one monument sign to be accessory to this commercial use, and that definition says that it should contain a support structure that is solid appearing base constructed of permanent material, and further in the ordinance talks about being comprised of stone, brick, or other decorative material. So the single pole configuration, in my opinion, would not fall under that category of monument, and so the base would need to be reconfigured, otherwise a variance would be required. If the applicant can reconfigure the base, we could potentially eliminate that second variance. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Furston, did you have any comments?
Not at this time.
Ms. Morgan, did you have any comments?
Just to indicate voting separately on this is complicated.
Okay. All right. Proceed now with your application.
Okay. All right. First, clarification. The permit was for a pole sign, not a monument sign, even though the pole sign, as I read it, depending on how you read the code, is not allowed there. But it was submitted as a pole sign, and designed as a pole sign. And if you look at your vision triangle, it is outside that vision triangle, but the 20-foot setback from the property line wasn't necessarily understood or known when we measured for that vision triangle. And that's why it's 3.5 feet from the property line, because it's really the only place he has to go all the way down the property line. And Dr. Casey did want me to make sure you knew that he would have had a little more room before the road was widened. So that caused it to be a little closer as well. And I would argue the fact that perhaps because of the location and because of how close it is to the driveway pulling out, that a monument sign would actually impede vision more than a pole sign will.
Okay. Mr. Furston, I have some questions. I thought we weren't allowed to have pole signs anymore. Am I wrong on that?
We didn't call it a pole sign, the applicant did.
Okay.
That's what it says on the application.
I'm sorry, sir.
Met the height requirement of a monument sign.
So it is a monument sign or is it a pole sign?
We were categorizing it as a monument. He's calling it a pole sign.
So what is it?
I think if you look,
Are we just, is it potato? Is,
if you look at your revised code of 2023, I believe, which I believe nobody was familiar with, that mentions that a pole sign, the base of the sign on the pole needs to be 8 foot from the ground. And this is not, this is 6 foot from the ground. So if you use that criteria as it is only 6 foot from the ground, so therefore it can't be a pole sign, it would have to be categorized as a monument sign. But I guess you're correct, it is potato when you look at it that way. So when we were out there and measured the vision triangle, we thought it was outside the vision triangle, correct? And it would be approved.
Madam Chair, maybe I can provide a bit of context. So the code allows a monument sign, one monument sign per non-residential property, unless you have more than like 500 linear feet of frontage, for example. So the applicant is permitted to have a monument sign, and then you have to read the definition of what monument sign is, which says a freestanding sign that contains a support structure that is a solid appearing base constructed of permanent material. And then furthermore, in the same section that talks about setbacks, that's where the code states that the base of any monument sign shall be composed of stone, brick, or other decorative material complementary to the building material used for the principal structure. So I guess whether or not we're calling it one thing or another, the requirement is that it be a monument sign, that it be solid, and that it have materials complementary to the primary structure.
I'm sorry.
May I add something?
Yes, please, because I'm sorry, I just couldn't hear what you were saying, sir.
It's okay. We called it a monument sign. For the board's clarification and the applicant, pole signs are no longer permitted in the city of North Ridgeville.
Okay, that's what I
That's
thought.
per that new ordinance. So
Okay.
we don't want to call it a pole sign because that's specifically prohibited.
So that's the reason why it was revised? Okay.
And then, say after we applied, that's when I met Mr. Furston out there, and we measured the triangle and everything, and said this is where it can go, and thought we were good to go. And so
I'm sorry,
he
sir.
wasn't sure of that, and I wasn't, and I just took his word for it, and we went ahead, and he said, go ahead and you can go. It's just a matter of paperwork now. We can go ahead and build your sign.
Mr. Hurston?
We did meet and discuss that triangle. What I wasn't familiar with in the new ordinance was the new requirement for the 20-foot setback off the sideline. This is a very unique piece of property with very
Yes.
little frontage on Center Ridge Road.
Very
I don't know
little
where they could
frontage.
put that to meet the 20-foot and everything else.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Ms. Lieber.
And like I said, I've built a lot of monument signs, and
This is
because
a-
how close it is to the driveway, that would impede traffic much more, your vision much more than looking right than a pole sign would be.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions? Okay. This one is an unusual one just because of the configuration of the property.
There's no place on that property you could be 20 feet from the property line unless you're gonna go in the middle of the parking lot.
And as he stated, this is with the road widening this is even less. So, once again, is there anybody in the audience that wants to speak on behalf of this matter? Seeing nobody, nobody from the administration wants to speak on this? Or, yes, Ms. Morgan?
I just have a quick question for myself. How big is the variance now for the setback part? Did that change?
No.
It's still 16 and a half feet.
It-
Okay,
Yeah,
all
it
right.
was just the compensation.
Okay.
So we're gonna split this, so I'm going to make, I'll make a motion to accept the first variance.
I'll second it.
Will the clerk please take roll?
Kane,
Yes.
Grotman,
Yes.
Kimball,
Yes.
Toth,
Yes.
Masterson,
Yes. For the second variance, I make a motion to accept, or,
Yeah, I'll second.
Kane,
Yes.
Grotman,
Yes.
Kimball,
Yes.
Toth,
No.
Masterson.
yes.
Both motions carry.
Thank you
It
very
was
much.
just, I was confused, and I was just having a hard time wrapping my head around the pole
You and me
sign.
both.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
you're welcome,
Have a
sir.
nice evening.
Okay. Okay, will the clerk please please read the next case.
PPZ 2024-0306, Rick Fraley, 33681 Browning Drive, PPN 07-00-009-120-161. Proposal consists of installing a fence in the side yard. Property is zoned R1 Residence District. Request a 2-foot height variance for a segment of privacy fence in the side yard, east property line. Applicant shows 8 feet, code allows 6 feet. Section 1294.01 H2A. Note, request is limited to a 16-foot long section of fence.
Is there anybody that wants to speak on behalf of this matter? Whoever wants to speak just has to come up and be sworn in. Hi, could you please state your name and your address?
33681 Browning Drive.
Okay, do you swear or affirm that the statements you're about to make before the Zoning and Building Board of Appeals for the City of North Ridgeville are true as you shall answer unto God or under the penalties of the law of perjury?
I do.
Okay, would you like to tell us a little bit about your application?
Yeah, between our houses, the yard slopes down because for drainage purposes. And the house to the right of us, where the fence is at, they have a basement, so their house is raised up higher. And the slope where you come out on our deck to their deck is lower there, so that's where we wanted to put the 2-foot lattice variance there, just for a little privacy, so when they're out on their deck eating, or we are. Also, I work from home, and the summertime I'm out there, it kind of has the noise, they won't hear me talking out there. And a young couple just moved in, the old neighbor just moved out, so they're still fixing a house up, they didn't move in yet. And we have a dog, and I leave her out multiple times at nighttime in the light. It helps not have the light shine on their deck. And it's kind of just for privacy for us, like when we're out there and they're out there too, that we could just have our, dinners and just a little privacy. Plus I have elderly parents that come over and they like to go out on the deck, but if it's open, they won't go out. And it's in the middle of the fence where 2 sections are, just where the decks go together. And then it's open on each side.
Any board members have any comments, questions, concerns?
Not at this time.
Okay, so Duncan factors. What, can the property yield a reasonable return, or can there be any beneficial use? Oh gosh, I am so sorry, I did it again. Ms. Lieber, would you like to read your report? I apologize. It is so hard to, 20 years of not having the report. I apologize.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think the board pretty well understands what the request is. It appears from the pictures that the fence was already installed. The applicant mentioned, from just my observation, there wasn't a significant grade difference, but the applicant has indicated kind of the arrangements of the house and the lot, that might be a situation in this case. My only advice to the board, if you would be so inclined to grant it, is to limit the height to that portion of fence. Otherwise, if you just grant a 2-foot height variance, it's for the whole lot. So if the object would be to create one area of screening, then that should be specific. And I also just was curious if I could ask through the board if the applicant can say in the pictures kind of which thing is facing which property. So I don't quite have spatial orientation as to whether the nice side is facing the neighbor or the applicants.
I'll get there.
Trying to say both sides are nice.
The nice
Yeah, I
lattice.
was gonna say, it seemed, both sides are very nice.
One's lattice and one's,
The lattice is on the neighbor's side, so it looks nicer on their side, the lattice is.
Do you understand what just was?
Yeah,
You'd have to be sworn in.
so it kind of has a more screen wall look, I suppose, with the lattice.
Ms. Lieber? We could just make, could we just make the variance for just that section and have it removed? If we were so inclined.
If the board were so inclined to approve a variance, you could limit it to that 16-foot section of fence, so that in the future,
If that
whole
fence
lot
came down, they would have to come back for a new one.
typically if a variance is granted, it runs with the land, so they would be able to pull a new permit to install another fence in that section that would be that height. It wouldn't have to come back to the board.
But they could only put it back in that section.
Right, only in that section.
Okay, thank you.
Well, Madam Chair, that's really seems to be all they're requesting, so.
Yeah, we're just requesting for that, it's on 2 sections of the fence only. The rest of it's all, it's just on 2 sections, so it's like 16, I think it's 8 feet for each section of fence. So it's on just 2 of those sections, just to block where the doors and the window are.
Okay.
It's not on anything else on the fence, it's all open, a 6-foot fence there.
Did you want to add anything else, Ms. Morgan?
No, we were just discussing, the application is only for that section, so if you grant what they asked for, that's all they're granting. If you want to make that absolutely clear that it's only for the 16-foot section, if you plan to approve it, that's fine.
Okay. Is there anybody in the lobby that wants to speak on behalf of this matter? There is nobody in the lobby that wants to speak on this matter. So, I am going to make a motion to accept this variance for the 16-foot section at 8 feet high. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Will the clerk please take roll?
Kane,
No.
Grotman,
Yes.
Kimball,
No.
Toth,
No.
Masterson,
Yes.
motion fails.
So what do we have to do now?
It has to come down.
And is there any other thing we can do for privacy between the 2 houses that would be accepted?
You could put something landscape, you can,
Mature evergreens would be
Well, the yard is
nice.
so little where the deck is, see where the top of the swing is? It's just a little variance there, so there wouldn't be anything to put there. can I put lattice on my side with a climbing vine or anything? Would that be okay?
You would have to check with the building department what would be okay. I don't think I can answer that question, can I?
Well, we'd have to see what she's proposing. What are you asking for?
Like that lattice that's right there, can I put that lattice on our side in the yard and then put like vines or whatever, like
recycling,
kind
or
of
you
make the
want me to?
lattice where it's double, where you couldn't really see through it, and then just put vines on our side in the grass on the yard
I
there?
just have to-
Just in that spot right there, that's between the.
I don't think we could, without a drawing and a submittal, approve.
I'm sorry.
There'd have to be a drawing we need to look at. I don't think we could give you advice right here without seeing
So
exactly
just
what you're
think of
talking about.
something and then just kind of propose it.
We'll
and
certainly
draw.
look at anything you want to propose, sure.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Is there anything else in front of our board? Hearing